Hi everyone. We need to talk about, AI and the artwork that's going to be featured in role-playing games because there is no escaping that. For those of you who are not in the know yet, over the last few weeks, couple of months perhaps, there have been some very serious and truly astonishing developments in the world of artificial intelligence that have brought us some tools like Midjourney, which is right now the most popular, Diffusion, which is gaining popularity, and Wally, which is kind of, everybody wants to take a look at it, but it's not as easy as we would love it to be. And things like Wombo art, that it's kind of like not very good. But um, Midjourney is actually breaking waves in the world of art, and it's reached role-playing games because it was meant to. I've been taking a look at it. I looked into Midjourney, I've looked into artificial intelligence, and I've asked some people around me because working in my day job in cybersecurity, as you can imagine, for us is quite a big deal because we don't know what the potential threat of deepfake is going to be with the help of artificial intelligence. And I can guarantee you anything that criminals will take advantage of that. But in the world of role playing games, artificial intelligence plays a very, very crucial role, and is the fact that it can create some very interesting looking and, quite frankly, rather attractive images based on prompts in a very, very short period of time and for next to nothing. Considering the artwork, first, getting it right is very difficult, and secondly, it's not particularly cheap to be able to generate interesting and good enough images for role playing games is something that people are going to do and indeed are doing already. Some myths to dispel. Yes, it is a true artificial intelligence. It is actually learning every single time that that technology, that conglomerate of algorithms create something. How is it working to actually decide what is good learning and what is bad learning? That I don't know, but the fact is that it is learning. Yes, it does use other people's artwork as reference. Basically, what it does is whenever you make a prompt, it goes out there, it has cataloged and tagged and databased gazillion million images with their descriptors. And this is very important because what the AI is going to do, for example, if you ask for a lamp made of cheese, is it's going to take a look at images of lamps, images of cheese, and join them together to create something completely new. And it's going to take a look at an awful lot of lamps, not just one, not just two. So it isn't necessarily a copy, it is a reference. And this is something very important that, let's face it, it quite sucks, but that's the way it goes because artists, as in real life artists, have been doing that forever. And it is to take references and to take little chunks to make brushes to create images. We've been doing that for decades. There's no way to escape that. There's no way to escape that software like Photoshop uses artificial intelligence to do things like filling with the environment taken into account or to do colorization. Hell, it even has a neural filters that you can use. So that is here to stay. Let's make no mistake about this. Artificial intelligence generated artwork is not going to go. We have to get used to the fact that it's here to stay. Looking at things for references, it may suck, but that's been done forever. If we're going to tell the artificial intelligence that it's not fair to look at other artists' work, then, well, I'm sorry, but no artists who's ever used a picture of a stone to generate a brush in Photoshop and later they use to create a different texture is fair either. We either have it for both or have it for none. What is difficult, though, is that there is no definition whatsoever as to what constitutes something that's being derivative enough to be considered completely new. And that is where the line kind of blurs a little bit. That is going to be very difficult to obtain because this kind of AI work can already fool alleged experts. There was a couple of weeks ago, at the time of releasing this video, somebody who presented a photograph, an image generated by AI, manipulated in Photoshop, upscaled, printing on canvas as a fine art image. It fooled the judges who gave it a first prize. So to some degree, AI generated art has kind of passed the Turing test, or that chunk of the Turing test. That if you look at something and you don't know that it's made by a machine, what's it made by? How? That is very important. We need to add to that right now there isn't really any precedent for the use of these images. And according to the law, and as far as I am concerned, both in the UK and in the US, if it's generated by a machine, it cannot hold copyright. Yes, that means if you see an image generated by AI and you like it, and it's been generated by somebody else, you can use it. No problemo whatsoever. But why would you want to do that when you can just go, type a few things, and you have a completely new image that you can claim to have whispered to the AI because you prompted it? How amazing is that? Actually, quite a lot, let's face it. So we have an awful lot of conundrums in here. Now there are companies like DrivethruRPG who have released a statement in which people who use AI-generated artwork, they must declare it. Which again takes me back to but what happens if I have taken an AI-generated work and I mix it with another 5 AI-generated work and I create something completely new out of those 5 works that I have prompted? Do I need to declare that too? Where does the machine work ends and the human work begins? That is a very, very tricky one. What if I generate a landscape that then I use to actually trace over and paint over and do something slightly different? Is that my work? Or is it the machine work? If to that we add that for some bizarre reason that I don't get to understand, DriveThrus also included software like Inkarnate or Dungeondraft. How is that AI at all? I mean, how? Those things just provide with a bunch of stickers that you can put around and play with. And the only AI, which is not AI, is procedural, which is very different. Generating things when you click a button in Dungeondraft and says, generate me a dungeon with a seed. But that is different. That's just a mathematical formula applied in a consistent manner. It hasn't gone out there and learned, oh, wait a second, this is not what he wanted the last time. I am going to do something different this time. Or, oh, I didn't like that one that I did before. I'm going to do it. It doesn't really make any sense. And also, what happens when a new software comes up? It's going to be included automatically? So what happens if I make something in Dungeondraft and again I trace it, which I do sometimes, so I can do my own shading and I can do my own stickers and my own whatever? Then what? This is the beginning. Of course, in the beginning there's always resistance. There has to be. And don't get me wrong, rightly so. We cannot just something like this go unscrutinized, uncriticized, and unchecked. And there is also the point of, is this going to put some artists out of work? Not yet, but probably yes, but not all of them. Because I reckon that people who truly can't afford artwork are going to use this to generate things that will make their work look more interesting, more appealing, and therefore more sellable. Are companies that are going to misuse this? Yes. I can see an awful lot of online publications, even printed publications, who are going to use these kind of images because they're very cheap and they're very quick, so they don't have to pay an artist. That will happen. Definitely. Can I see full books illustrated this manner? Yes. Can I see full books illustrated this manner without human input? I kind of know, because there is something called art direction, which is very, very important in the process of creating a book. And if you don't have an art director, you just let the machine decide what's going to do, you're going to end up with a mismatch of images that it's kind of going to lack the cohesive visual language that you need to do something really cool. So, uh, look, I don't know where this is going to go. I only know that this is going, and it's going to go nowhere. This is getting the same resistance that photography got at the very beginning when people said that this is not artwork. It is exactly the same resistance that digital photography experienced when it came up, and traditional photographers said, "Oh, no, 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 this is not art. This is not photography either. This is just chips." It's the same resistance that people got when, mobile phones became so good you could take proper video. Oh, no, 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 you can't take that. You're going to make work of art with the phone. Well, yes, you can. People indeed do. And with this, something similar is going to happen. So you better get used to it. You better get used to it. There's going to be myriad lawsuits in I don't know how many countries to define and decide what is going to happen with those images and people who make them and who they belong to. Because right now, Midjourney is selling a commercial license, which is a bit like, wait a second, those images don't even belong to you. They belong to no one. They have no copyright whatsoever. Why wouldn't I already have the commercial license to use this? What? Maybe I'm missing something here, but that's the way it's meant to work as of now, September 2022. So I get the outrage. I get the people being scared that they're going to get less work because an AI is going to do that work. We need to bet. You need to, how to put this? We need to get good at AI. If you're an artist, you better start thinking how you're going to introduce that into your workflow, or how you're going to differentiate yourself so much from AI and sell it that people will want to work for you. This is not an NFT. This is not crypto shit. This is something that's here to stay. That's happening in images, it's happening in text generators, it's happening in music, it's happening in videos, it's happening any and everywhere. And believe me, it's not going to go. You better get good at this. You better find out how to make it work for you, because otherwise, you're very likely to have it a lot harder, a lot more difficult, and become a lot less relevant. It may suck, but we do need to embrace this new technology somehow, because it is here to stay.